Hey everyone, we are the Gratitude Girls.
The gratitude girls are in the house. Hi, Lori. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you, Catherine?
I am great. It's summer in Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, and well, it's beginning of summer, and we're outside more than we can be inside. Lori, it's really great to be here. I know you're doing the tech. I'll start by introducing myself and where I'm at this moment. My name is Catherine Asaro Myers, affectionately known as Rara. I'm broadcasting to you live tonight from beautiful Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada. You may hear my New York accent slip out, and that's just, you can't take the New York out of the girl, right? So I'm here with my amazing partner doing the tech. Lori, are you able to say something?
Yes, I am Lori Del and I am outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
In case you're wondering why are we here tonight, we'll make a really short version of our story. I'll start while Lori's taking care of that. Lori and I met on stage 2013, and we didn't know each other, but I knew about Lori. And I heard her name and I knew what she had done. And she had been recognized for giving the most gifts in the company, the network marketing company that we were in. And when I had heard that, I thought, I would really like to meet this person. Well, you know, when you think about something, they say when you think about it, it happens. So, of course, I fly to Salt Lake City. And while I'm thinking about maybe Lori would be in the room, Lori, when you're ready, you can pick up how the story about how we met. But Lori's name, my name and Lori's name were mentioned. And when I heard her name, I thought, I'm going to get to meet her. And I was going through some of my, I'll say, gifts today. And the first day I met Lori, she gave me a gift, what she was so very well known for. And I still have it. And it means so much that when someone is their true, authentic self. Well, we met on stage because there was an award that was being given, and there was a tie for the very first time in that company. And there has never been one since. And it was the Gratitude Award. And Lori and I took about 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and the Gratitude Girls were born. We weren't sure what we were going to do with it. And Lori, I'll let you pick it up from there.
Yeah, and so we didn't know what we were going to do with it. And over the last almost 14 years now, we have done meetings like this where we have a special guest every month and we do free coaching and training every week. We do paid coaching and training. We have speaking engagements. We have a Gratitude Girls journal and lots of other things. And so, but tonight we are featuring one of our special guests, and I am so happy to introduce her and have her on our show. So it is my personal friend, Jill Lublin, and she is a 25 plus year media magnet, she calls herself. And she is just amazing. I have followed her for so many years, and I am so glad to finally get her on our show with us. She owns her own PR agency, and she just does so many things. I'm not going to go into it all, but you can read it on our page, and she will probably talk about it at a little bit. Jill, thank you so much for joining us on the Gratitude Girls.
Oh, I am happy to be one of these gratitude girls. Hey, Lori. Hey, Catherine. So good to be here with both of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Lori, I have like one or two things I'd like to ask Jill if I can start off, if that'll be okay. So, Jill, I was noticing that just so happened on my birthday, you were writing something on your or posting something on your Instagram account, and it really resonated with me. You didn't know me, you didn't know it was my birthday, but I'll just bring you back to that. May I bring you back to that day and time, April 15th? Okay, great. You wrote this. You wrote, your real reputation isn't built by your experience, achievements, or your bio. It's built by how you treat people when there's nothing in it for you. Kindness is by far your most powerful form of PR and your most powerful source of results in your business. And here are some ways that it shows up when you practice these things daily. You said, number one, give credit when no one expects it. Number two, speak up for someone when they're not there. Number three, send a quick note of encouragement. And people remember how you made them feel. and they definitely talk about it. And you said, make sure that kindness is speaking volumes for you. What was going on in your life when you wrote that post? Because I think it's beautiful. Thank you for writing it.
Well, you are so welcome. And one of the things I believe in, people talk about random acts of kindness, and I think we should practice conscious acts of kindness every single day. And, listen, I have a client who's been going through some pretty serious stuff. And throughout the years, she's been a client on, off, different times, and she's booked me to speak, and we have this wonderful ongoing relationship. And during her recovery time at a rehab place, I'm like, "How you doing?" She goes, "The food sucks." So what I do, I send her a DoorDash. Now, that was a moment where, just to reach out, like being remembered. Because listen, she has been a wonderful client, a colleague, and a friend throughout. Now, I'm happy to say a friend throughout the years. But like what are you remembering about people? And I guess
Mm.
it just struck me, like how can we be better? And listen, there is a lot going on. I know it. We all have a lot,
Mm.
probably more than we ever have had before, which is why when you do these things, you stand out so much, right? And when
Mm.
you send the handwritten notes, or we were sharing about the cup, I received in the mail, different things, right?
I'll
How
show it. I'll show it so everybody knows about this cup that we all like.
Yes, yes. And, these are things that you can't really duplicate, but that means so much. I mean, I'll just pull out something really fun. I run the kindness circles. One of my kindness circle friends sent me these fun little stamps. Of course, you know what they are, right? And so people ask me often to write endorsements for their books. And I love doing that. I'm happy to do that. And so what I've gotten in the habit of doing is putting a little smiley face onto the endorsement and saying, "Congratulations." Well, somebody actually
Is
wrote
that
me.
your mascot? Is that your smiley face mascot?
Well, I guess he could be a math. Sure, sure. And he wrote me back and said, "You know what a difference you made for me that day when I opened back up." And this is by mail, yes, mail. He opened up and saw a smiley face. Like, how fun is that? Just silly things that make a difference.
It's thoughtful, Jill, it's really thoughtful. Lori, can I ask another question before you? Yeah. A quick question. Okay, great. So I just wanted to talk to you about that. You're known for your kindness and your media mastery intensives, and you lead kindness circles. You just talked about it, which is my next question. How has practicing kindness helped you grow your business? And how can others use it as a tool in their visibility journey?
Yeah, well, first of all, kind companies get more publicity. And that's just what's true. And you're going to remember if you were choosing between two people to choose to whether it's a coaching relationship or consulting or to buy a product from a company and you walk into a place, where are you going to feel more drawn to? Probably the kinder company, people, person connection that you have with somebody. And I've just seen this again and again. Now I can only, stand up and be that way for myself. But guess what? Now I get to have circles where people are coming in to be kind for each other, where actual relationships are getting built and deals are getting done. Why? Because we're in a circle of kindness. And I think that when you come in from that mindset and you approach life like that, not only will you be known for it, but you'll stand out because of it. And then you get chosen. People say yes to you. Publicity
Mm.
brings the clients in, kindness helps to maintain them and really, keep the relationship special.
Thank you. I'll circle back after Lori and ask you another question.
Yeah, absolutely. So, also, Jill, you shared with us that you're deeply grateful for being introduced to Steve 29 years ago. And so, happy anniversary. I did see that the other day. So tell me a little bit more, like, what role has gratitude played in sustaining that relationship? Because that it takes a lot for 29 years, right?
It's a long time. It's a long time. And by the way, we've been married for 2 years, just two. It took me a while to figure out he's the right guy. No, I'm teasing. But, just it wasn't important to either one of us. And then all of a sudden it was. So we actually did get married 2 years ago and now celebrate that anniversary. So that's really fun. And here's the thing. We both, what we do every morning before he's in the shower, before I start my day, he tends to be in the shower first. I know, TMI, but true. And what we do, 5 things we're grateful for. We speak them out loud to each other. We ask each other the question, what are 5 things you're grateful for? And then we do it at night before we fall asleep, or if I know I'm going to watch TV or movie and he's in the other room, I'm like, what are 5 things you're grateful for? So morning and night, 5 things. Now that right there will presence gratitude. And I say him a lot of times, and so we're in the equation of gratitude and gratefulness, depending on what we did that day, or I just say you. And by the way, I say me. I mean, you have to be grateful for yourself too, because I'm in relationship to him. So that means I'm also fully responsible for me in relationship to him. And I think that both of us have done enough of our own personal work. That's helpful. And we know how to work through stuff, especially, listen, it isn't always roses, but we stick with it and we work through it.
That's important.
Yes.
Yeah, you said some really key words there, just to let it resonate about sticking with it. It's important. And it's almost as if you are a huge advocate of our book, because this is what it's like. You must be in our head, Jill. We talk about this all the time, almost exactly like what you said, slightly different versions, but it's that we do the very same thing. So Jill, you have a law school story about what you did and how you did it and how you didn't do it, to a world-renowned. So you went from law school journey to a world-renowned publicity expert. That's quite the journey. Can you share a pivotal moment, if you would, please? That was early in your career. So if you could take us back to a point, and then let us know, at that point in your career, like, when did you realize that you were meant to share this message that you're sharing with us right now with the world?
So let me just say, I didn't make it through law school because I hated it, which really disappointed me, because I really wanted to be an attorney. I felt like that would be a great journey, that would be a way to help people. I've always been service oriented. Okay, that was a way to actually really make a difference and help people. And then I got to law school. So for this creative mind, it was not the right place to be. And I literally dropped out of law school, much to my family's chagrin, and decided to actually start my career in the music business. And that was delightful and a lot of fun, and kept me on a real path until I actually wrote my first book, Guerrilla Publicity, now in its 3rd edition. So that's just been a wonderful journey with J. Conrad Levinson, who wrote Guerrilla Marketing, and I've been very blessed to write that book with him. Meaning I wrote the book and he put his name on it, but that's good, right? And that's branding, right? That's good public relations. And so it all kept going, one book after another, kind of like some people have children. I have books and cats, 4 of each, by the way, 4 books, 4 cats, just saying. And with that, during, let me think. Oh, actually, when The Prophet of Kindness came out, what happened was I really got inspired. It was really I call it a God moment, where I just realized that I wanted to do these circles of kindness. Like, what could we do to bring people together in a spirit of kindness, in community, no matter where they were in the world? Guess what? I love Zoom, and now we have kindness circles. And that is really awesome. And now I'm inviting people in for free. And in fact, hopefully we will post this just so you know that we have a wonderful way for you to join us in these kindness circles all the time. And we do them monthly now. And then I do something to honor World Kindness Day, which is November 13th. And we do some kind of summit, small summit. I'm really into, like, the kindness circles 1 hour, right? I think these days you got to bring people in, give them value, take them out, right? Which is what I do in my media mastery intensive, what I do in my kindness circles. It's really about how do we give value, get people moving, and be there for not ridiculous amounts of time. So that's just my role these days, and making publicity easy, making kindness accessible, and then rolling them all together because they do go together.
Well, thank you for that, because there are moments that people, well, you remember it, but there are moments that sometimes people are going through things and they just go through it and they don't have that point of reference. But thank you for bringing us back to that. Jill, I don't know if you were aware of this in our show, but we like to hand the mic over to you. So I have a feeling that you'll be okay with that.
Yes, I love it.
Okay, if you would be like on the spot, ready with us. If you have a question for Lori and I, it could be the same question, a different question, whatever you're willing to or interested in doing. Just let us know who you're asking the question to first so that we answer that. Whatever you'd like. Like, should I say that to you? I don't know you well enough. I don't know where you'll go with that. But I know you're kind, so of course I can say that to you. Any question that you'd like to ask us, and that this will be the part of the show where we hand the mic over to you, and then we'll take it back.
Well, thank you. So, Catherine, I'll start with you about why is gratitude so important to you? What do you think is the impact out in the world?
Okay, well, thank you for asking that. It started at a very young age for me. I remember being young and writing in journals and writing all the time. I led a very sheltered childhood, and I didn't really go out much. So I'm what you call a loud introvert. I'm an introvert. So the writing of all the things that I was grateful for sort of prevented me from being upset that I couldn't go anywhere. So I was happy with all the things that surrounded me. And I focused on that, and those things grew. And why do I think it's important? I believe it's actually therapeutic. I would clearly state if someone had something troubling them, that gratitude would be a therapeutic modality, as you
Yeah.
said, to go into gratitude and sort of pull the thoughts away from the other things and into something that is in the moment and hopefully rooted to some degree. For me, it's deep rooted. So I believe that we can all use a little bit of therapy, and gratitude therapy to me is something that we should position in our everyday life, just like you talked about what you do with Steve.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And
Thank
Lori,
you.
I heard her acknowledge you for giving, that you won an award for giving. What was it exactly? Remind me again, because I had a question around that.
Yes, Lori was recognized for giving the most gifts in our company.
I love that. Okay, so in giving the most gifts, there is something behind this for you. What is it about giving gifts, about recognizing people, that gives you some sense of what's that sense? I mean, I think I might know the answer, but I'd be really curious to hear it from you. What's that about for you?
Yeah, you know, I just, I mean, kind of on the same lines of what Catherine said. I grew up in a very super conservative Christian household. And, one of those deprived kids, wasn't allowed to do anything.
Uh,
And now I'm very thankful for it because I don't have near as many regrets as a lot of other people too. Um, but my grandmother taught me back when I was like 5. She taught me to send out cards if people did anything for you, gave anything to you, anything like that, because they didn't have to, right? So you should thank them properly for it. So fast forward 2004, joining send out cards to be able to send out cards to the world, that was just a given for me. And, so I do that all the time, but then I always was also, same thing from my grandmother, was taught, like, if you go to someone's house, you don't show up empty handed. If you go to meet someone, you don't show up empty handed. You have something. And so through our system, I could send things through the mail. but I do that in person. If I meet anyone anywhere, my husband teases me because he's like, "Why do you have all this extra stuff in your bag?" Well, because I have a leave a gift. I tip the maid at our hotel, but I also leave a gift. I leave gifts for waitresses a lot of times, and like I've had waitresses run out to the car to say, "Oh, you forgot this." I'm like, "No, that was for you," but I don't like sometimes I leave a note, but I don't like leave the information, right? Because it's supposed to be just an anonymous gift, right? So I'm not like looking for the fame from it. And so yeah, so the same thing through our system. I just send out cards and send out gifts with them a lot of times, just because I just I feel like God tells me to, and I just to be a kind person like you talked about.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. I'm just curious, what's the best gift you ever left a waitress? Not tip wise, but gift wise.
Gift wise. Um well, I don't know if it's like the best, but I know the one that a girl cried because I had a pair of earrings on. I forgot to put them on tonight. But anyway, I had a pair of earrings on and they weren't even expensive. I mean, to her, they might have been. But anyway, but still, and she just made comments and just was, wow, they're so beautiful. I had to tell you, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so I took them off and I just left them on the table,
Oh,
and yeah, we usually give like 30 to 50% tip. So anyway, I left a good tip, but I just left them on the table and I just said I did leave a note. I keep post-it notes in my purse so that way I can write notes. And I just
that's
left a
smart.
note and said, I hope you love these as much as you said that you loved them on me,
Oh,
and she ran out to the car and was literally laughing, crying, smiling, and was like, nobody's ever done anything like that for me. Thank you so much. And I just, literally, it made me want to give every pair of my earrings away.
well, and I think this brings up, if my mic's still mine, this what this does, what this acts of gratitude, acts of kindness, ripple effects, right, to everybody through our gratitude, through our kindness, through those little gestures that for her she's probably still talking about, right? And I think that's so beautiful. Thank you both for sharing that.
Thank Catherine, you're muted. Thank you.
Mm. Yes, that's the first time I've ever been that silent while I'm speaking. Jill, those are great questions. Thank you. I'm wondering if there's a way that you can tell us, I'm looking at the time just so that we're all aware of that. If there's a way that you can share a gratitude story, someone that you're grateful for. Maybe you've told them, maybe you want them to hear today, or maybe you've never said it out loud before. But is there a gratitude story or moment that you would be able to share with us before we wrap up the show?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I'm like, my mind is trying to pick from all of them. But let me tell you one in The Profit of Kindness, my latest book, and that is of one of my coaches. And I fell and fractured both ankles at once in multiple places. Okay, ow. And I called him up and I said, and I was in a wheelchair for close to 6 months and not very mobile, although I did make some speaking engagements toward the later part. But I called him up and I said, I can't afford to do coaching right now. It's probably not the best time. And he said, oh, you're fine. I'm going to stay with you till you literally get on your feet, which I thought was amazing. And don't even worry about it because you need coaching. You need to stay in action right now. You need to stay focused, even though, you're hurting and the world seems to be falling apart. I'm going to support you. And I'm like, I was so touched by that. Now I want you to know that I consider it investing in myself in this coaching relationship for 12 years. Now, do you think that his 6 months of putting his fee on hold might have impacted that? Of course it did. Because, and by the way, we're still friends and we're still colleagues. And I write them. I recently wrote a LinkedIn, recommendation, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying that was an incredible act of generosity, and I'm forever grateful. He's featured in my book in the first chapter, literally. So, what I find about that kind of action and service is that it keeps on going. Like the waitress is still talking about those earrings. I'm sure of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the gifts you send, like we were talking about. Oh, I love my cups that I get, right? I do. I love them. I can never have too many. So it's a beautiful thing, and that it's remembering. And the smiley faces, that the little things that keep making a difference, because the gift that keeps on giving, literally. And I say that about publicity, and that it's a gift that keeps on giving. So is kindness. So is gratitude.
And Jill, I'll mention this before I pass the mic over to Lori. You received. Not everyone is able to receive the way you did. So as your coach gave to you, you open-heartedly accepted that. And that's the beauty of gratitude, because it goes around and around and around, just like your happiness circle.
Thank you. But I want to make a comment about that, because I'm going to tell you, great givers are often not great receivers. And I include myself in this, and I include many great givers in this. And guess what? I had to really practice receiving. It's an interesting, different side of the coin. And when I had to break both ankles to actually literally learn how to receive, because guess what? I had to receive a lot of help. I mean, I couldn't do much. And all of a sudden I had to receive, and I had to receive, and I went, oh, it was a whole nother level of learning for me to be able to receive. So thank you for that acknowledgement.
You're welcome. Thank you, Lori. I know the mic is going back to you now.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I remember a story of my mom that years ago, and she was a licensed massage therapist, reflexologist, and nutrition consultant, but she would get very involved with her clients, would get very involved in her family. So when us girls were growing up, and I was the oldest, so I knew most of her clients, probably the most. But anyway, one of them did something for me, and and the same thing, I was not apt to receiving well, and mom was just like, "Lori, you are to say thank you. Period. End of sentence." Yes, ma'am. And so, and she had a talk with me afterwards when that client wasn't there. But exactly that, a lot of times we, especially women, because women are nurturers, right? And we're born to give and do for others. And it's hard to accept that, a lot of times. And so, yeah, sometimes it's a learning process, right? And so,
Well, yes. And I think what a beautiful thing for all of us, to be givers, to be receivers, to be silent, to be, whatever the point is, but to be something, right? And to take an action. And that action can be the receiving of the message, the receiving of the gift, the receiving of gratitude.
right. Yes, absolutely. And we wanted to thank you so much for being on
Yes.
the show tonight with us. And we did put all your links in with the video so people will see that. But yes, Jill has a free gift in there, so make sure to read all the information there, because you'll see her free gift. So make sure you go to her site and check out that free gift, because I know it will be amazing. Make sure you follow her. She's on all the social medias. Look her up, Jill, Lublin. Make sure you're following her on all the social media channels. Make sure you love the posts, right? We love to see the engagement. And make sure you follow her and subscribe. Jill, thank you so much for being with us. And for any of you that are watching, if you want to be just like Jill and be in her seat, make sure to go to facebook.com/gratitudegirls. Make sure to send us a message there. Same thing, follow Gratitude Girls on all the different social media. let us know your gratitude story and when you would like to be featured on our show, and we will put you on our list. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you have a
Thank you.
wonderful evening.
Good night. Thank you.